Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it's DMG and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. And today I have not one, not two, but three mastery replays for you in the Indien Panzer. This is the Tier 8 German medium tank that was recently buffed. And what was buffed about it? Well, its turret dispersion values upon rotation were reduced. So I'm able to make more accurate shots and re-engage targets a little bit better. And the biggest thing was that the aim time was reduced. Now this was the one thing that the tank really had trouble with, and it was the thing that the tank had that most people would look at and say, I don't want to play it because it just has horrific aim time. And now that the aim time has been reduced, this tank is just a beast in every single manner. And did I mention that the mantlet got buffed as well? Or the armor behind the mantlet got buffed from 0 to 90mm, so it is a much more effective hull-down tank with minus 10 degrees of gun depression that it already had going for it. And our first match is on Mayan ruins. Now, this bush on Mayan ruins is so important. I try and get into this bush all the time with my medium and light tanks, as it will allow me to get early spots on heavies crossing to the corner and mediums crossing to my right. Now, I feel comfortable pushing up on this T-54 Mod 1 after the T-49 dies, as he has a strong armor profile and I feel very secure. I have a bit of indecision here as our T-54 does take out the Mod 1 and I am unsure whether to go flank with him or to go frontally engage with our newly buffed armor profile, so to speak. And even though I'm spotted, I'm going to look for a shot on this ST-1, but not before a T-30 tries and pens me. And he does bounce, and that is thanks to the recently buffed armor profile. And this is what is fantastic about this tank, is that it has good armor despite having great DPM for its tier. And it has decent mobility for how much armor it has. Look at that, the small turret profile works a treat in this situation, as it is a pinhead shape, and when moving back and forth, it is very difficult to hit. And this SU is going to feel the pain of that right now. I'm going to poke another shot on him as he misses his shot on my very small profile. And you saw a bounce on the hull there, as the tank does have good hull armor too. It has Tiger 2 levels of hull armor with decently thick tracks. And the front, while not the same raw thickness as, say, like I said, the Tiger 2, it does have a nice sloping to it. Almost E5 or M103, that beak shape, which allows it to get some very troll bounces against lower tier guns and troll bounces against high tier guns or high tier players that do not bother to aim. And you're going to see a mistake here, as I do not turn my turret backwards and the IS-3 will pop me, as I do want to go engage the ST-1. Now, I will be able to put a kill shot onto this ST-1, but the showcase here is really about the Indian's armor profile. You know, you're able to use gun depression sometimes and they won't be able to shoot you at all, and other times the hull armor and just troll nature of this small turret profile will allow you to achieve some serious ricochets. And I am able to put into the shot into that SU. Now, but what about when it's in the open field and I'm going to engage this IS-3? He's going to look at me, I'm going to angle correctly, and he's going to bounce off the thick sides. And like I said, Tiger 2 level side armor. It is so important for this tank, as you are able to brawl IS-3s and the like with high DPM. And now another bounce from the KV-5 of all sorts, again on this side armor, and I'm able to put two shots through his commander's hatch, or his radio man's hatch. Regardless, it is a weak point, and although it is getting buffed next update, it is very weak now. Now let's check out the post-game results for our game on Mayan ruins. We pick up 3,125 damage and 3 destroyed and receive a mastery for our troubles, even making a profit of 15,000 credits. And I think that game really showcased the Indian's armor profile, even when you do make questionable decisions mid-game. Now, what else is good about this tank? the DPM, and why is the DPM so great? It's that it carries a 90mm gun compared to, say, a Panther 88 or a Panther 2, which carries an 88mm. Now that is a 25 alpha difference. You put in 4 shots, let's say. That's a 100 alpha difference. And while that seems small, it does build up. And for those targets that are roughly just over 200 HP, the Indian is able to finish them off, whereas the Panther 2 and Panther 88, and even, let's say, the Centurion 7.1 that guns at 190 alpha would have trouble. Now, on this map, it is so important to get to this bush on Naval Frontier if you are in a somewhat fast tank, as you will be able to spot targets crossing and put in shots across. And this decreased dispersion upon turret traverse allows me to put in accurate fire onto the SU and accurate fire onto this Tiger P. With this competitive rate of fire, I have gone 450 damage for 0. I put in another blind shot just to see if I hit anything, and I do receive a blind shot back. And like I said, competitive rate of fire, a 3rd shot into the low, and it is going to be a 4th shot into the T-28 Proto. With this nice profile, I am able to poke my turret over the ridge just slightly, and put in fire into this Tiger P. It's another 2 shots and 225 alpha compared to 200. Let's see how many shots I've put in. 6? That's 150 alpha difference. So I wouldn't have had that damage, but most likely would have had the same amount of shots or shot opportunities. And that's the beauty of the Indian. You have this 90mm gun that shoots at 225 with not all that different reload. It's not all that much slower than the Panther 88 and Panther 2 that gun at 200, or the Centurion, which guns at 190. I think about capturing this base, but then I decide that damage is more important in this scenario. We already have 2 caps. There isn't much point in getting another. Now this T-29, come on, buddy, just pushes my butt and decides to tunnel that Yag that is behind cover and ends up pushing me out in front of the T-28 Proto, and I eat a shot and give nothing in return. That is an awful trade. With the fantastic standard penetration of 219mm on the 90mm of the Indian, I am able to put in a great AP round through the Yag and through the T-28 Proto, and that this SU front, which would normally be quite troll for guns like the T-44 or T-54 Mod 1, the Indian doesn't have nearly as much trouble as you have, 35mm more penetration, almost 40mm more penetration on your standard rounds. And that really makes all the difference when you're just trying to pierce targets at distance. So in that game, we pick up 2,803 damage with 2 destroyed and receive a 25,000 credit profit. We also pick up the mastery for our effort. And I really think that game shows the gun stats of the Indian and the buffs that the tank has had, and why it has become such a good offensive tank as much as just your basic all-rounder. Now, this final game, you're going to see it all come together. The gun, the mobility, the armor, everything comes to a singular point in this Desert Sands game. Now, part of armor is knowing which tanks you can bully and which you cannot. For example, if you're driving a Mouse or an E3, people will just not even shoot at you and won't even try and pen you in the first place because they'd rather shoot something else. But the best kinds of armor are the ones where people think that they can pen you and they try and fire, which essentially removes their 1 shot that they had in the barrel at the time from the game, which allows you to put in your shot. And that's what the Indian has. It has enough armor. You don't want too much armor. And I hate people that just say, oh, I want the most armored tank to bounce the most shots. And yes, the Mouse does have a role in competitive, but in the public meta, you want a tank that bounces enough shots. Like the M103 armor is perfect for that. But onto this game, I'm pushing across, and I notice an RU has made an awful mistake. Now, the reason why I was driving up and over those hills was because if the RU spotted me, I'd be able to get some kind of indicator as to whether he was there or not. But instead, I saw the T-26 E4, and I thought no one was there, so I lackadaisically push across and find the RU on my left. And then when he decides to try and run away, I use my mobility to try and ram him, which I get off, and then I am able to just DPM burn him down. Once I take away that RU's speed, the RU really has nothing going for him other than his DPM. And in a close quarters brawl, my armor will win out. Now, attacking on this side of Desert Sands, you want to go near the red line, because going over any closer to the rail cars will get you flogged, and it does not get you as much view range. The important thing here is that I'm going to use the rate of fire of this weapon despite having some indecision, which you will see. Now I'm going to put two shots into this T-30 and he will try and pop me one, but he will be unsuccessful as I start moving my tank as I predict what he is going to do. But the VK does hit me, and he is using the stock gun. However, this isn't too troubling, as at least he's not hitting me with 460 in this trading situation. I donk a shot on this Super Pershing after hitting him once, and this VK is still trying to get a shot on me. And you see some indecision there, as I don't know what to do. I put another great shot into this VK. The back of his turret is a prime place to aim, as maybe I can damage a loader or a gunner or something, some kind of crew member that will give me some sort of advantage. I try to get a little bit overconfident here, and it doesn't work out. I absolutely deserved to take that shot. That was a complete mistake by me, but I do make up for it by putting a nice shot on the move through the lower plate of the VKB. And now that I am on this corner, I can engage his rear-mounted platform on my terms, as he has to poke all the way around just to try and get that gun pointed at me. And this is just becoming very difficult for him, as he has two targets he has to stay in front of. And I'm not going to engage the VKB right there. I'm not going to poke around the corner. Don't give him the satisfaction of putting in a shot into me. But his cousin, the VKA, will receive the brunt of my gun. And now that T-30 is just going to tunnel that corner. Just like with the VK, I'm not going to give the T-30 the satisfaction of being able to get a shot on me. So discretion is the better part of valor in this situation, and I will just relocate. Now, instead of going all the way around and trying to engage the low, I will just go right here, and despite that I will be proxy spotted very soon by the low, this is a safer position, as the T-30 does not have as much of an angle on me. Now, even though I was playing it safe, the T-30 fired, which allows me to just use my competitive rate of fire to kill the T-30, and then after getting stuck on a corner after some bad driving, I will be able to finish off the low. Now, you saw the armor go to work there, at least, compared to the STA one or the Pershing. The Indian has enough hull armor to the point where the enemy has to aim. And the longer they aim, the more it decreases their DPM. But the post-game results show that we get 3,975 damage with 4 destroyed, picking up the Mastery Badge. I really hope you enjoyed those 3 games. I got them all yesterday, and I was very excited, but like an idiot, I decided to play more games and seeing if I could get more masteries on recording. And of course, the recording lags of the device, and I was like an idiot, and I just decreased my damage. But today, I was able to go back, get 2 more masteries, and increase my damage. So all is good in the land of Indien Panzer. Before I conclude, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the 217 of you that have now subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this content, please slap that like button and subscribe for more. And if you didn't, leave your constructive criticism in the comment section. As always, I really appreciate the opportunity to share my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.